that just wasn't gonna come, and she was sitting hunched over in a wheelchair, heartbroken, looking into a grave, holding a casket, holding the body of her husband, old age bronchitis. They kept her looking down, unable to stand up, to take a look around, and unable to see the trees that her husband was buried beneath, and unable to see the workers on the hill leaning on their shovels, waiting patiently, because some people in the graveyard are just there to say goodbye. Some are just there to say hello again to those they haven't seen in a long time. Some are just there to do their job after everyone else is done crying. The men with their shovels, or me with the wheelchair. I was one of those guys, you see. I was her caretaker, and we met at the nursing home that she lived in. We sat and talked when I brought her lunch, laughed and joked with her and her husband, but then he got sick and then he died, and I took her to go and bury him. I saw her cry for the first time, and I didn't feel a thing. Fallen, pray to God, but the God will spare that carcass long after the graves are dug, and in spite of horrors, oars to torrent, blood thunder, split thy lungs, stare down the horsemen, ignore the corpses, seems your heart's turned numb. Winter follows autumn, kings have fallen, pray to God, but the God will spare that carcass long after the graves are dug, and in spite of horrors, oars to torrent, blood and thunder, split thy lungs, stare down the horsemen, ignore the corpses, seems your heart's turned numb. Cause I've seen death more times than I can remember, working in hospice and geriatrics since back in 2007, and I've seen cancer rob the life of those too young, gasping for air, losing the battle, death rattles and the reaper comes, and I've seen the meanest, bitter old soul collapse in a puddle of tears, crying for their mother, looking for comfort, but their mother's been dead for years. And I've seen used to be beauty queens surrounded by pictures of them in their prime, hiding in the past, afraid of the future, knowing that every wilting flower dies. And I've seen 100-year-old veterans' children rip at each other's throats over a will and testament, while in the other room their father dies alone. And I've seen a woman with dementia and pain crying every night, whose son was selfishly refusing to let her die out of the fear that he'd be kicked out of her home, that he was able to live in as long as she didn't die, but it was her time to go. And I've seen the end too many times to feel sad when it arrives, but I had second thoughts when I started to stop feeling sad when my friends died, so I quit. Winter follows autumn, kings have fallen, pray to God, but the God will spare that carcass long after the graves are dug, and in spite of horrors, oars to torrent, blood and thunder, split thy lungs, stare down the horsemen, ignore the corpses, seems your heart's turned numb. Winter follows autumn, kings have fallen, pray to God, but the God will spare that carcass long after the graves are dug, and in spite of horrors, oars to torrent, blood and thunder, split thy lungs, stare down the horsemen, ignore the corpses, seems your heart's turned numb.